Hello, I'm Valentina Kozlova, former principal dancer of the Bolshoi Ballet and New York City Ballet, also co-founder of VKIBC competition and founder of Valentina Kozlova Dance Foundation. In the program Pulse on Dance and Science of Movement. Let's get started. So today on Pulse and Dance, I have very handsome tall man, Henning Rübsam. Hello.
Oh, thank you, Valentina, for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's so nice to see you again. The other time that you interviewed me, right?
Right, yes.
So now that it's the other way around. So Henning, I do know that you had classical training,
Yes,
contemporary training, and modern training,
yes.
right? So what made you? How did you choose which way you're going to go?
Well, I started children's ballet when I was 5 years old. It was my parents. They saw me singing and dancing whenever there was music on, and they thought, well, maybe he would enjoy a dance class. And so in my hometown, Marburg, which is an hour north of Frankfurt, a university town, there was a ballet studio, and my mother took me to just watch a class.
Mm-hmm.
And after class, I said, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
And, it was once a week for a few years, and then eventually it was twice a week. And then, so I should, Hiltrud Frank was the ballet teacher's name, and she had danced with the Frankfurt Ballet long before Forsyth, of course, and and she really instilled a joy of dance in me, or fed the joy that was in me. And then a US American teacher came, and for a little while was her assistant, and then she had ideas of bringing other teachers in for weekend workshops. And thought, these young dancers, they need other food.
Right.
And so she brought modern dance teachers. Among them was Jenny Coogan and Krista Coogan, who both had graduated from Juilliard. There was Duncan McFarland, who had danced with Bejar, or had been to Mudra and was a choreographer in his own right, and worked a lot in London. And I just thought, this is what I want to do. What Jenny, what Krista is doing, what they're doing, what Duncan is doing. But so the consensus was, well, you have to have a good ballet base to dance. And I studied in Kassel with André Dutraval and his wife Sylvia, and then auditioned for the Hamburg Opera Ballet School and got in, and they had given me a scholarship, and so I finished high school in Hamburg living by myself. But all the while I felt, while I enjoyed doing ballet, it was not quite my calling. I knew I needed to dance. And then the Limón company came to Hamburg and performed. And that was another wake-up call. So having seen these wonderful modern dancers and teachers, Jenny, Krista, Duncan, and but now seeing a company doing repertory, and I thought, well, I need to go to New York. I need to dance with the Limón company. And how to get there was, I phoned Jenny Coogan, and I said, Jenny, I saw the Limón company, and I know that you studied Limón technique at Juilliard. Could you write me a recommendation? She said, absolutely, Henning, that's what we'll do. And so I let the teachers in Hamburg know that's what I wanted to do, and they weren't happy at all.
Oh, wow.
It felt, to them, it felt like a betrayal.
Wow.
You know, so... And
you follow your dream, right?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, I was so, you know, it's just 17 years old, and I thought, you know, here they would be looking out for me. No, it was sort of like, well, we have taken you in on scholarship, and now you have other plans. How dare you, you know? And that was really a surprise to me. I mean, Truman Finney, who was the director of the school, he did not talk to me for 3 months. Not a word after I asked him what he was thinking about Juilliard. He just ignored me for 3 months.
Well, it's like they felt like betrayal.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But so I went to New York after I got the high school degree. I auditioned. Juilliard offered me a scholarship, and I stayed. And I've been in New York ever since. And I did dance with the Limón Company. And then I danced with Alwyn Nicolai and Murray Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And have been doing my own work. And that's really been the most, I think, important part of my
stage life.
My stage life is doing my own work, yeah.
So what exactly, I would like to understand, because I'm not from modern world,
Yeah.
right? What exactly that inspired you in Limón Company? What is there, like, specific spirit element of, you know, what we feel, emotions, lack of emotions? What is it?
I think you hit the nail right on the head. It is, for me, it's a truth in gesture. You know, that when somebody reaches out, it is reaching out. It is it is whole-souled. It is not decorative.
Mm-hmm.
It is not mime. It is to me
Emotions.
a true depiction of emotion in movement and in gesture.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really, it grabbed me.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I mean, in story ballets, you can be truthful. I've learned that since. But it is, and I do love taking on a character. It's not that I always have to be myself. I love getting into a character. But I feel like in the Limón repertory that the idea of a humanist outlook in dance, it was what really tickled me as a young dancer. This is what I wanted to do. It was not some fairy tale ballet, and I love fairy tales, but to have stories that matter in terms of human interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is where Limón remains the master.
You know, we all have our own calling, and then I guess from practicalities in general, like looking around, people experiment. We all have to experiment and see what works and what it doesn't. But there's like a beginning, for example, what actually tickled you, and that's why I was like interested. What exactly Limón did this to you that you absolutely wanted to do, and you just explained very clearly. And then you have so many things that you do. You're an educator. You teach dance history. If you teach dance history, what period do you take?
Oh, right now when I'm teaching for the BFA program of Alvin Ailey Fordham, I have to cover pretty much everything. However, I do start not with tribal dance, but with Western European dance, Catherine de' Medici and the Italian courts. But since it is the Ailey program, I do focus a lot on modern dance, on the beginnings of modern dance with Loie Fuller, with Isadora Duncan, with Ruth Dennis, and then the big four: Martha Graham, Doris Humphrey, Charles Whiteman, Hanya Holm, of course, and Catherine Dunham and Pearl Primus, and there is that richness that I feel like that the students at A-League then can really connect to, and I give them a family tree, and then they see, oh, my teacher studied with,
Right.
and then they are part of that family tree of modern dance, and that's how I get them hooked, and then I can go to the ballet world, and then have tap and have other art forms, or other parts of the art form. But I think they most identify with being part of that modern dance tree. And
very interesting. So you mentioned Catherine Medici.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. I got you.
Well, that is probably the fourth class, because the first three classes are really on the roots of modern dance, and then first generation, second generation. But then I go back and say, and now to the ballet world, and where where Western dance is coming from, and where did it originate? And they say, well, France, yes, but maybe before France there was the courts in Italy, right?
Yeah, Italy, yeah.
So, and then I tell them about Catherine de Medici and how she married Henry II.
And commissioned,
exactly.
Yeah, for a prince from Poland, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
So,
yeah.
And then it goes to Louis XIV and being the Sun King, and establishing the Royal Academy in Paris for music and for dance, and out of that how the Paris Opera Ballet grew, and it being the oldest ballet company in the world, and then the diaspora of the ballet, and then Petipa going to St. Petersburg, and Cecchetti and Johansson from Sweden, and of course and then there's Bournonville and
between Saint Leon and all of that.
Yes, so I mean it is. I'm having a great time doing it, and I think I'm a good storyteller, and the students are with it. They are they like it, and I mean I got to teaching dance history. I had written, but then at Juilliard I had been a guest speaker for a composer who had given a lecture on composer-choreographer collaborations, Ricardo Yorca, who I've collaborated with quite a bit. And so he asked me to be a guest speaker, and then the students in his course really enjoyed my talk. And so they had gone to the director of the division, and she gave me the feedback, and I said, well, and that was back in 2006, that you don't have a dance history class. You have all this music history for the general public. Why don't we do a dance history class? And she said, that was Catherine Gertzen, and she said, why don't you write a proposal and I look at it? And I did, and that's how I started teaching. And that was great because I didn't have to do the same thing every year. I could do a course on male ballet technique after Baryshnikov and how it developed. And so every year I had something new,
else. Yeah, and
I didn't have to repeat
in specifics.
And
so so much, it's unbelievable. Plus, when I danced, and now of course I don't, occasionally, and I always see you, like always. And when I danced with New York City Ballet, that you were there, so you do go to see ballet and contemporary and modern and new and all of that. I think it's quite fascinating because we don't have that many, it's rare, people who are so exposed to history and different type of dancing. So like you were talking about Limon, and then you were talking how it started, and then going into more ballet, going into Catherine Medici, right? Ballet was born kind of on a commission of Catherine in France, then eventually moved to other places in Russia. And Russia became the hub
Absolutely.
of avant-garde training, and it's like the purest. And you're a person who does know contemporary and modern, like of masters, modern, and yet you absolutely understand not only that, but you also write reviews on ballets.
Well, I'm crazy about dance. Yes, and yes, I do focus on my own work, and I do take my work very seriously, and that is the nucleus of my being. It's my creative output. But I am inspired by what other people are doing, and I love different forms of dance. And I have to say, I mean, writing about dance, you know, gives me the opportunity to see so much and go to the ballet and see different casts and see different interpretations, see young dancers going through the ranks.
Right.
I mean, I'm inspired by the dance world, and I think it is because dance has given me my life. Truly. I mean, a young boy in a little university town, I mean, dance was my outlet, how I could be myself. And I feel I owe dance my life, and so I want to give my life back to dance. And yes, writing about other companies, about other dancers, about other choreographers who are doing, in my view, great work. That is a way of giving back, other than doing one's own work and teaching, yes, and
yes,
and producing. I mean, you know,
yes,
as a historian, you know, putting exhibits together.
A lot. You just like, it's very fascinating. You do a lot, but I have a question for you, because it happened to me in the last many years, but more and more. The more like I talk about dance, for example, in my case it will be classical dance, because I really would like, in a way, to say, if I feel like here I'm one of the last ones to like about coaching specifically. So the more like I talk, the more it comes to my head what actually like I've got when I was young. Because you know, you study, like for example in Bolshoi, you study and you have so many things that you learn, that the information is incredible, like historian almost. And then you perform, you dance. It's all about your company you work with, your coach, your partner, yourself, here and there. And then you finish dancing, and like I feel it's necessity for me to give back, so people actually understand and don't forget. And like in the classics, for example, I say, yes, okay, I mean, we did all these double and triple pirouettes. Well, now people do quadruple, and God knows how many. I'm not against at all. Just start on the music and finish with the music. Then it's fine. And don't make this as the most important thing. So that the more you see it, at least for me, the more I talk about, the more I realize how much education I got it, or interest and I want to pass. And I feel that you want to pass, yes, your own vision, but we all have our own visions, right?
Yeah.
So your own vision, and you're right, I might agree or disagree with you, but I will never say, oh, that's I completely disagree with your point of view, because that's how you feel, that's how you see it when you write, for example, about dancers or different cast or productions. Besides, you're dancing, you put your own show in France and was so successful that you're invited back, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about?
Yeah, it was a really wonderful gift. A former dancer of mine, who has his own company now in Jerusalem, had recommended me to this festival. He had been part of it, and he did a great job, apparently. Elad Schechter is his name. And so with the director of the festival, they brainstormed and my name came up. And so they checked me out on YouTube or on the internet, and saw my company's work and contacted me, and they said, well, we're a small festival and we cannot bring a company over, but we saw a couple of solos. Do you have a solo program? And I said, well, and you want, that was, I believe, in May of 2024 that they asked me. And you said you want that for July of 2025? They said yes. And I said, of course I'll have a solo program. I mean, with over a year of preparation. Yeah. Yes, I did have a couple of solos, and then, I thought, well, with these couple of solos, I can create a solo program. And, being disciplined and getting in shape and putting a program together that would matter for the place. It was in Corsica, in Bastia, Corsica.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, well, one of the solos I do is a French chanson by the chanteuse Barbara. Was very successful in the 1960s, and she wrote a song about, the title is Göttingen, and that's a town in Germany where she performed, and it really brought France and Germany together again. It was not too long after the war, World War II, and the understanding that now there's a young generation of people who want to come together. And so I thought, well, that's a solo that I did back in 2006. That is going to be my opening solo. And then I found other chansons, and Corsica being Italian at one point, so I put one Italian song in there. Me being German, I put 2 German songs, and used 4 songs by the German-born chanteuse Eva, who had her career in France and sang most of her repertoire in French. But I thought, rather than just picking some any singer, Eva is the one, because that is a German-French connection and connects me to the place I'm performing. And the wonderful thing was that when the 9 songs, a 25-minute program, when I presented it to friends here, and Pia Catton, who is a dance writer and is now working is a membership director of American Ballet Theater. She said, Henning, the wonderful thing about this was to get introduced to a music that was unfamiliar to me. And she was hooked. And that felt really good to me, that it mattered, the program, that awful word, relatable. It was relatable to people not in France, not in Corsica, but because it was, I feel the program is truly
connected.
Yeah. It reads as a piece of, may I say, art?
Right.
Yeah, that is at one with itself.
Henning, when you choreograph, it's the idea which starts first. Well, obviously you have to have an idea. Is that music that inspires you, or the movement, or the steps, or your own inner personality, how you particularly hear this music, for example, or how you want what you feel to express on this music? What is it? What's the catch?
Tina, I'm a little paranoid about repeating myself in terms of how I go about creating a piece. So every piece, to not repeat an experience, even if it was successful, I try to go from another angle. So sometimes it is music, and I like to, because I was sort of an important piece a long time ago, in 2001, I choreographed the Brahms double concerto, and it was a piece that I knew so well. It was a piece I loved, but on the radio there was this version that I had never heard. It was much more, let's say, bouncy. It was danceable. At first I didn't recognize it as a Brahms double concerto, and here I was in my seat dancing. And I said, I need to make sure, it was on the radio, to make sure, what is this recording, that I can get my hands on it. Eugene Ormandy conducting the Philadelphia Orchestra with Isaac Stern and Leonard Rose. Next day I was at Tower Records, right? I bought it.
At 60, whatever it was.
And it was a revelation, because here was a piece that I knew inside and out, and that interpretation for some reason just unlocked the door. I was in the studio and I choreographed. It just flowed. Yeah. It just was meant to be. It was the music. Right. Another piece, even earlier, Dolphins and Antelopes. Music didn't start that. It was a visit to the zoo with my then very young nephews, who were I think 2 and 4 years old, and who were just so bored at our visit to the zoo. But when we got home, they wanted to play monkey, and and I got into these animal skins.
Oh my goodness.
Right, and I went in, I locked myself in a dance studio, and just for hours I was a giraffe, and for hours I was a dolphin, and and so it was this safari that just went through my body. And then I called my composer friend Beata Mohn, and I said, I have this idea about this, about going on a safari and dance, and it's sort. I feel like it's an evolutionary safari, because in all this movement, I feel human beings are the only one touching one another with the palm of their hands. Even the monkeys, they go, with the back of their hands, and other animals don't even have hands. So and so in the end, when we are a herd of antelope, and the hoofs are, and we straighten up, and the lights fade, and it's sort of like a sunset, and we look at one another, and we reach out with and have the palms of our hands on each other's shoulders as the lights fade, and so we are finally human, right? And then there are signs that some things are meant to be. Dolphins and antelopes, and you look at the text schedule and how techies abbreviate everything. DNA, dolphins and antelopes. I didn't even think of that.
No.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, but yes, it's our DNA. And so I just knew I was on the right track with that, but completely different. Music with the Brahms, movement with dolphins and antelopes, and with Half-Life, that was 2011. It was my inner turmoil and anxiety after the
9/11.
no with the reactor in Fukushima,
Yeah.
the earthquake,
Right.
and the radioactivity, that disaster that somehow just really got to me. And so I called the dancers into the studio, and
In your company, because you have a company.
and it was about the like feeling the space with our tentacles, so to speak. You know, is it safe to go there? And
That's interesting movement you just did. I almost want to repeat, but I need to study your movement.
so it's
always something, and it's always different. That's fascinating. Another question: when you listen to the music or you hear music, do you, in your mind, listen to dance and the movement, or you just listen to the music?
I think I just listen to the music, and if there is a more visceral response, then I know it is, I want to dance to it. But there are definitely pieces of music that I don't have that response. It's just interesting,
Right.
and so it's not that I want to dance to every piece of music that is out there, but a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's like, I remember I was driving, believe it or not, I was driving to Boston for whatever engagement, and of course I grew up in classical music. We always did. And then before I defected, because Bolshoi Ballet traveled, so we were buying all this Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, etc., etc. Many, and different groups, and I love Pink Floyd. I love Led Zeppelin. I love many other singers and groups. It just varies. So I put on, it was Pink Floyd, because I had a CD, Pink Floyd, Wall. You know
another brick in the wall.
Oh yeah, and I'm sitting, and then the whole scenario in my head goes with Pink Floyd, and then I thought, well, I really would like to create ballet, but it's not just about movement, but you always find something like almost psychology to put into that. So I ask you this specific question because I mean, not every piece of music, of course, excites me, but somehow it just comes to my head. And now I felt too bad I'm not dancing, because I really would like to dance on this piece of music and this piece of music. I think it's actually, we have fascinating life, that we see so many details, and it's almost spiritual in a way.
It really is. And I'm so grateful that I had a mentor who picked up on my musicality. It was Eva Evdokimova.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I had been running my company, yes, modern dance, contemporary dance, but then I studied ballet with her religiously. She was teaching at Ballet Arts, and I had seen her, of course, when
With Glinda Crane was
yes,
yeah.
And I had seen her, of course, dance in Germany. She had come to dance Giselle in Hamburg, and I had never seen a dancer who grabbed me that way. And so when I saw her on the schedule at Ballet Arts, I just thought, I have to study with her. And you know, after the first class I took with her, she said, Henning, other than being a dancer, what's your instrument? So
Yeah.
yeah, I said I play the flute.
Yeah.
She said, I could tell that you're a musician as well. And we just connected, and our love for dance and going to performances together, and her giving me her insight on what a dancer did or how a dancer played it safe. It gave me such another appreciation of the ballet world.
Mm-hmm.
And then ballet that I had started with came back into my choreography, and then I really combined modern dance and ballet, and it was something that, well, I grew up in, but sort of had put it a little bit on the low burner. And with Eva, she just inspired me again to combine everything that I knew.
That's amazing, because like as we were talking, it came question just like that came into my head, that I have this feeling that you're using a ballet vocabulary, or at least somewhere combining, because I mean everything started really from, you have to have a ballet foundation, right?
Yeah.
And then how far you can go outside, but there's some element that very important, even when there's a silence, like you stay on stage silent. So I always ask myself, and I'm sure you have a great answer, I'm still about. So the question would be, when you're in silence, you just look at the audience, you're a dancer. Is that because you've withdrawn, or there's so much emotions and you take a point to digest, or you actually giving a message?
Again, I think it depends on the piece and the context you're in. Sometimes it is just about being in space,
mm-hmm.
and how you're angled, right? And if there's the audience, do you invite the audience in? Not having your greatest wingspan, but having the hands just ever so slightly in front of you, so that you can create a circle and just be, but sort of commune with an audience. Or is it just, if it's not about a communal feeling, how do you position your body in space so that your angles correlate
mm-hmm.
to, well, maybe a diagonal? Do you want to be two-dimensional? What is it that you want to achieve in that silence, so that it can be strong without a movement sequence, but that stillness is still movement?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, stillness is, it's absolutely. I think that I more and more that I treasure people who can be still on stage, and yet as a member of the audience I see it gets into me, so that it shows you real personality on stage. So the dancer is not making steps substitute, because the too many steps quite often basically hides either emotions I feel, or like lack of emotions, for example. Also it's a substitute, and like more steps, more tricks. Okay, can you stop for a split or a second? I just would like to feel you.
Yeah.
That's why I think stillness in dance, whether it's ballet or not ballet, or modern dance, it's so important, because you want to see through dancers' stillness a personality, a message.
Or what I personally find also really interesting is to have that the focus not in the solar plexus, and but the center of the eye, if you can take it outside of your body. And being with the Nikolai company, I think that is where it is not about personality per se. It is about being movement itself. You know, that a flick, you know, can be the focus, the center of attention, and you can take the movement through space. You can have that. It's not centralized. It's truly the decentralization of the body, of movement, and you can play with the audience's focus. So it's another tool, and you become a, sounds grand, but you become a servant of the motion itself, and that commitment to, well, these elements of flow, of weight, of speed, of space, of and the qualities, you know, the using gravity, using where you explore how rich and diverse different movement can be without personality. It is the movement itself that is taking you
into another space.
Locomotion across.
Yeah, locomotive. You know? I really would like to see you working, because it's very, I hear very different, the way you see, the way you feel, obviously, like we're all different. I just would like to see the way you work. If there's anything like nearby, time speaking, what are you doing now?
Well, just this weekend I performed at the Martha Graham Studio Theater, and that was meaningful to me because I had my very first company season there with Sense Dance in 1992.
Sense Dance, very good. It's a great name.
Thank you. The tagline is in the hope that through the senses we can all meet. You know, so that
intriguing.
Sensory
perception. It's very intriguing.
So. And so being in this space again, you know, a third of a century later, but it's so great to still be performing, and it was 2 premieres, you know, and 2 contemporary music, one with my longtime collaborator Beata Moon, one with Masatora Goya is his name. The composer, and both pieces were performed live by the Random Access Music Ensemble under Thomas Piercy. We got a grant from the New York State Council on the Arts. But next in New York is December 17th through the 20th at New York Live Arts. A very short pas de deux. The opening pas de deux of my ensemble piece Monarchas is going to be done as part of the Wildwork season. Which is a wildlife foundation that asks choreographers to create pieces. And so last year, in the inaugural season, I was asked to contribute a piece, and the director, Chiara, asked me, what animal would you like to focus on, or what is your inspiration? I said, well, I just was in Mexico, in the state of Michoacan, and saw the monarch butterflies, the sanctuary of monarch butterflies, and I need to do a piece about the monarch butterflies. And what is so wonderful in this current political climate is that you have this subliminal, or not so subliminal, message of open borders, because here there are these migrating butterflies. There are no borders for them, right? And so you don't need to make a big statement, but if you really think about freedom, liberty, movement, migration, I mean, that's...
You're an artist. You are a philosopher and an artist.
Right, so just with butterflies you can
Yeah,
send a message.
True, I would like to comment, but I also what is interesting for me. I love to watch rehearsals, right? Because you're as a third party, I will see, for example, the dancer and the choreographer or director, or if you're both in everything, to see the difference how you try this movement and that movement. I mean, it's really fascinating. One thing that I would like to ask you, from your point of view, do you think that a new generation of dancers, whether they're classical or modern, contemporary, they are interested of predecessors before them?
I think you need to have a good dance history teacher.
Here comes Henning.
No, but I mean,
It's true.
You know, if there's so many wonderful people in the dance world, and if you take a moment and go beyond yourself and think, who are the people who are inspiring, who have been inspiring to you and others, and what can you tell another generation about these wonderful people? In my case, like Eva Evdokimova or Beverly Blossom, you know, who was in the original Alvin Nikolai company, and she could move space. I mean, with one gesture, the room opened.
Yeah, power.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it was not about high legs or virtuosity. It was how she moved the space like a magician. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I do reenact Eva's entrance as Giselle in the second act, you know, and there's, of course, it's how awe-inspiring it was to me, and how in a moment of a live performance can stay with you for the rest of your life. And if you can get that across, and you can get the young generation to see and not be focused on themselves only. It's important to focus on oneself as a dancer, but it is, if they get an idea how enriching it is to see live performance. I had a few years ago, I mean, when I had a student ask me, well, do I have to go and see these performances? I get them free tickets to BAM and to the Joyce, and I said, well, don't you want to see these things? Well, my own dancing is enough for me.
Oh no.
And I thought, you know what? Come and see. And you will get a different perspective. You might not like it, but after the performances I took them to, she came back to me and she said, thank you so much for insisting.
For opening up.
Yes.
For opening the world. Right?
Yes.
That's what you did.
And thankfully, most students are open. Yeah, I mean, that was not the rule.
Yeah.
But it's so wonderful because I see her now at performances.
Oh my goodness, that's gratifying.
It is great.
Yeah. So what's your message to dancers now in general? What if you had to give your message? How would you formulate?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Oh, dancers, please don't just look in the camera. Don't just dance for the camera. I know that it is an age of presenting oneself. But use the space and don't be afraid of turning the back or giving me your side. You're beautiful from every angle. And I want to see every angle. I want to see I want to see your back, I want to see your front, I want to see your side, I want to see you upside down, but I don't want to be played to always frontal. And obviously the COVID time and playing with one's camera and having to communicate with the world through that medium, I think made a lot of work very narrow and very frontal. And so using the space and letting me in your world rather than presenting your world to me, that would be my message.
And message to the audience, Henning?
Oh, to shut off your phone when you're in a live performance.
Yeah.
No, don't check your text messages, because that screen that lights up takes away from immersing yourselves and others for those, come on, what is it, half an hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes before there's intermission. Then you can open up your messages, answer them, tell the world how wonderful it was that you were seeing, and then shut off your phone again for the second half. But I think we are so married to our phones and to information, and to just really be able to immerse oneself is so important. To give the artists a chance, and to give oneself a chance to really experience for that moment rather than to be distracted. And by being distracted oneself, one distracts others. That's my message to the audience.
Yes, thank you for saying that. You know, we'll be in a performance together, lightening up.
Oh, I so look forward to that.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
What I'm going to do, Audrey asked me, and I said, well, you know, mostly I dance like drama ballets or so. Yeah. But one piece I did, Margot Sappington choreographed for me. It was a full entire ballet called Don't Bring Lulu. I think it's a period of great Gatsby.
Oh yes.
And Django Reinhardt.
Django Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Music. And so there was like a story that like three couples here, there, and a party and all of that. And then comes Lulu and disrupts the whole entire party and dances with like three guys at the same time, here, there, or switch to another. So it's just about her. Yeah. It's like the Great Gatsby era. And at the end, it starts to be a cat fight with women, like we actually like, because they're running like yes. want Lulu, which I played, to get out. And I say, okay, so I grab the butler and I run away. But in the middle of it, there was pas de deux on point, obviously, with some lifts, which is Me and I Love. That's the part.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
So I said that I would like to do this piece, and I will be doing not on point, obviously, and will eliminate lifts for something else. But it's mostly to create the era of that time.
Yeah.
And a lot of acting, like how they acted at the time. And it gives me an opportunity, like I said, I miss even to stay backstage in the darkness and waiting for my time and like looking who is dancing, just like doing badminton and look. I just miss this because it's a part of my life. It's not just stage dancing, it's actually be part of like all preparation and staying and waiting and looking for your entrance and then continue to watch performance. So that's what I will be dancing on. I'm actually very much looking forward to it because I need once in a while to get on stage and it inspires me to something else.
I mean, alive much more than ever, right? I'm going to do a piece by Beverly Blossom called Shards that I have been it's in my repertory. I did it first, I'd say just a little over 10 years ago. And I was dancing for her, and then her son, who runs the foundation, asked me if I wanted to do this particular piece. And you know, having worked with Beverly, I just felt like doing a solo of hers was just a wonderful experience, a great gift. And I feel like when I'm doing it, I grow as a performer. And then I'm doing a very short solo, 1 out of the 9 that I did for my solo program.
Oh.
So it will be a bigger piece. I think it's about 8 or 8.5 minutes by Beverly Blossom, and then a little 2-minute piece out of the solo program that I premiered this summer.
That's fine. So we'll share the space, a stage. I should better get in my shape, because now it's like life is crazy. Before that, we dedicated ourselves no matter what, with class, and now it's like so many things where we do. Like life is becoming busy, so sometimes you want just forget about everything, get backstage, and just face the magic of the spirit, actually, to be on stage. And have those lights when I constantly complain, I don't see anything, can you do the 25% less of the light? I'm the biggest complaint about the light. But it's a part of who we are, right? And like we're adjusting. So I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's interview. And then, so obviously I'll see you in April, and if anything, well, you have December, right? I would like to see some.
Yes, December 17th to the 20th at New York Live Arts.
Right,
yes.
right. And what's after that? You going somewhere, because you're traveling constantly?
Yes, I'm going to be in Mexico, and then in the early spring I am choreographing another musical, and I'll be writing, I'll be dancing, and then get ready for France again. And what I have to do now is try to shop the solo program to other festivals. I really feel this is the time to do it. I'm still in shape, and I want to do this, and I feel like it's a piece that can be performed anywhere, and I'm proud of it. I'm really proud of it.
It's great, like, to have, after so many years, you realize that I'm still alive in that sense, that I'm still interested in what I do, what I see. For example, it gives you purpose, not just go to the restaurant and take vacation, right? It gives you purpose to live. It's a constantly to be involved and continue to develop your interest in many aspects of it. Even in a very difficult political situation, you see, you've got butterfly. There's no borders.
There's no borders.
Right. So that's a message.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I'd like to mention is, as much as I enjoy being a solo performer, there is so much that I get out of dancing with other people as well. You know, yes, I can focus on my body, my musicality, my message, but then relating to another person on stage and building a relationship. And I've been very lucky. I'm having a dance partner, and we've been Violeta Klimczewska. She was trained in Warsaw and danced for the National Opera there, and then came to New York with the musical Metro and stayed. And then we've been dancing for the last 32 years, Violeta and I. Wow. So Violeta Klimczewska, thank keeping me growing. I think that's what it really is. As an artist, when you have to negotiate, and it's another skill that is beyond the solo work.
Mm-hmm.
Being a partner, and how to create harmony with a partner by listening to music together, being aware of another person's presence. It's another way of being alive.
It makes sense, like sense dance.
Yeah.
Your company,
So
it makes sense.
I just want to put that out there, that it's I think it's important to not just be comfortable in one way of creating,
Mm-hmm.
but to challenge oneself, to stay alert and grow.
Continue to grow, right? We'll continue
Yes.
to grow.
Yeah, and I think one can grow doing solo work, but it's to me, I just have to have everything. Working with dancers and by coaching them, on how to not just on how to move their legs and feet, but how to move their necks while they're moving, so that they let an audience in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That there's a movement that lets me come to them rather than them presenting.
Mm-hmm.
And that I know that they are within it because they live it, they breathe it, and just a suppleness in the upper body. I think to me that is so important to know that they are not just repeating movement, but that they are alive on stage.
I'm breathing.
Yeah.
It's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.